Hey, this is Lewis from SoFly, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a basic content block with Oxygen. So we'll start by adding a section to the page. We will put 75 pixels of container padding on the top and the bottom of the section. And then to start, we are going to add a heading and then a subheading. So we'll change the tag for the subheading to H2. Then we want to center everything in the section, so we'll just go center. And then for the heading, all right, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, and I'm going to make it a little bit lighter. So a 300 weight. And then for the subheading, it's typical in design to use the golden ratio. So if we're using 48 pixels for the font size for the heading, we could use the golden ratio 0.62 times 48 and then use 30 pixels, 29.76 pixels for the subheading. I mean, this isn't a hard and fast rule, but it generally looks good. Now we'll make this slightly less bold, and we'll make it a slightly lighter gray than the headline itself. Okay, there we go. And let's add a little bit of spacing below the headline. Let's say 8 pixels of margin. Okay, that looks pretty good. So this would just be a very basic content block with a headline and a subheadline. Then if you want to get fancier, what you could do is add some text into the content block itself. So to do that, we would add a text block. And then I'm just going to go get some lorem ipsum because I don't want to write the text myself. And we'll paste that in. And this is how you would add a couple paragraphs of text. Now let's get this positioned correctly. So we'll add 50 pixels of margin above it, and we'll set the text align property to left. And we will make this, say, 18px and a font weight of 300. And this is a very simple content section with headline, subheadline, and text. There are various layout options. You could align it all to the left. You could align it center. Right alignment is not typically seen for things like this. And then another thing you might want to do if you want this to be a little narrower, what you could do for the text is set the size max width to something like 900 px, and then to center it, just margin auto on either side, and that looks pretty good. Another thing you typically see in these content sections is images. So let's say I wanted to add a image at the bottom. I would go ahead and add an image. Browse, upload my image, and then we want to set the width of the image to 100%. So width 100%. And to get this to show up at the bottom of the content section, we'll go back to the section, remove the container padding, and actually put that 75 pixels of padding as the margin above the image. And now we have a cool content section with an image. We might not even want the text now. Just maybe describe this screenshot. So that looks pretty good. Another option for a content section would be to add a little fancy arrow at the bottom of it. So I'll delete the image, add back the padding, and then so you can see the effect, I'm going to add another section below. I will set its height to 200 px just so you can see what's going on here. And then for this section, I'm going to make this section a darker section. Let's say we'll make it a colored section. I'll make this section blue, and then I'll set the headline color to white. And then for the effect itself, let's say we had some content in the bottom section that we wanted to use the top section to sort of describe, and we could add a little arrow at the bottom of the section. So the way we do that is position the section relative, and then inside the section we would add a div. And just so you can see what's going on, I'll set the div's background to black, and I'm going to set the div size to 100px by 100px. Then we're going to take the div and we're going to position it absolute, and we're going to position it as left is going to be calc 50% minus 50px, and that's going to center it because that positions it 50% it positions it 50% of the width of the section from the left of the section. But since the 100px wide, it would actually not quite be centered if we didn't subtract half of its width. It would end up over here, which isn't centered. So we subtract half its width, and now it's centered, and then bottom is going to be 0px. That'll position at the bottom of the section. Then what we want to do is rotate it so we can get a little pointing arrow coming out the bottom of the section. So we would go transform, rotate 45 degrees. And then we could move it down a little bit. So we could try -10, -20, -30, -40, -50, -60 would be too much. So I'll go with -45. And then we'll just set the background color of this to the same color as the background color of the section. So now we have a cool pointing effect. And then if we added, let's say, a screenshot into this section, it would be this headline would describe the screenshot. Same with the sub-headline, and then this arrow would be pointing at it. So that's another cool effect. Okay, that's a few different simple types of content blocks. One other thing I'll show you would be adding a button to the bottom of a content block like this. So we'll go ahead and add a text link, and we'll set the color to white. We will add 75 pixels of margin above it, so the button is centered between the bottom of the section and the headline. In text to learn more, we will set the border to 1 pixel solid white. And let's try 2 pixels on this button. And we will go with 15 pixels of padding. And using the golden ratio on buttons is good as well. So if you use 15 pixels on the top and the bottom, you could use that times 1.6 and then get 24 pixels on the left and right. You'll see if we use 15px on all sides, the button just looks a little bit cramped. Better to have extra space on the left and right. And then let's set the font size to 20px. And there you go. That's how to make a simple content section with Oxygen. Now, it's very easy to make these responsive as well because everything's just stacked vertically anyway. So you shrink it down and it's still going to look good. The most you might want to do would be just put some padding on the container on lower resolutions in case the heading is right up against the edge of the container. So I'd say on less than 992, you could just add 20 pixels of space on the edge. Okay, thank you for watching.